Thanks. I want to welcome everybody to the November meeting of the CB1 and CB1 Transportation and Street Activity Permit Committee. We have agenda relatively manageable tonight with 3 items. For the next one, this will all be discussions. We won't have any outside speakers. So let's start with the first bill. There's been a good kind of rush of activity in our area, and city, this is all city legislation, district. This one is a bill to allow for-hire vehicles to park or stand in commercial parking meter areas up to 30 minutes, 4 times per day. And I think you understand the purpose of the bill. So the next one, we'll see the reason why it was written, supposedly. The reason was because for-hire vehicle drivers, that's who we're talking about, not taxi drivers, have raised concerns about the lack of access to restrooms while driving. According to the DOT, there was a testimony for this bill. And there are 113 relief stands that you can see on the DOT website for taxi and for-hire vehicle drivers. Of these, 70 are available for both taxis and for-hire vehicles, and 43 of them are only for taxi drivers. Now keep in mind, and most of them are in Manhattan, so that kind of covers us city. Keep in mind, these are not taxi stands. People can wait for a ride. This is a place where they really can take an hour and go wherever they want. Go to the next one, to relieve themselves, eat lunch, to do that. So it's in the DOT website. About them. If you go to the next one, you can see the map. So I wanted to point out to you, in our district, you look, we're looking really for the little black dots, because that's the one for-hire vehicle drivers to use. There are actually 3 of them in our district, which is only a mile and a half square, which is not that terribly large. Go to the next one. Summarize that. There are 3 of them, as well as others that are just for taxis. There's also spotted, actually varied in the city, that 4 public bathrooms, while a large number of for-hire vehicles are constantly parked, almost all of them. They're fire hydrants or double parked or other sorts of buildings. Nevertheless, that's where they're taking the breaks. That's a little bit about our district. And for those, I didn't really know, I've never noticed these signs before either. Now you can see what the sign looks like for these locations. There's on our DOT website. I doubt they made it out. That's what they look like. And again, I don't know how big the spaces are, because if somebody can take an hour and they all want to take lunch around the same time, I don't know how many people can be accommodated. Nevertheless, there are plenty of accommodations for our district compared to most of New York City. If you look at the numbers, how many of these are citywide. Next. So how many vehicles are there? Well, yeah, I looked at the TLC website. 81,800 licensed and working high-use for-hire vehicles, which are Ubers and Lyfts. That's what it says on the TLC website. As of last week. There are a lot of people who are coming. Next, it is crazy. So I looked at, back up through all of our resolutions, and we have recognized both sides of the importance of bathroom access and the need to install them more. We've also passed resolutions that recognize the importance of commercial parking, such as we did on Liberty Street. We've done that, which is mostly metered. We also know that it's mostly metered in our district. But buildings need commercial parking so they can be maintained and deliveries can occur. So what's going on in our district? Next, I turn to the Downtown Alliance to get stats from them. All the commercial loading zones in our business improvement district, for that, which is south of Chambers Street, and not Battery Park City, all of them are metered. 9 out of the 60 commercial loading zones have received loading related cards to 311 since May of 2023, which Downtown Alliance says suggests there are not always enough needed spaces and commercial vehicles needed. Go to the next. These numbers will put in perspective for me. They get 93.39 complaints per square mile, and that's 10 times the citywide average of 9, which downtown Alliance is significant. As to, we got the data from them, and these are in bike lanes, these are in bus lanes, and these are double parking. All these complaints, you can tell that they which suggests there is already high demand in these spaces. Situation that would worsen if the for hire vehicles allowed to park or stand in the commercial parking metered areas for 30 minutes, 4 times per day. That's a lot of people who can be there for a lot of hours. Next. So the DOT also had addressed this in the testimony. And their concern was the displaced delivery vehicles access to the curb, which is exactly what the Downtown Alliance is seeing and concerned about, and increase the potential for these vehicles to double park, which is kind of what they're doing. Additionally, it would require re-engineering of the existing payment systems in coordination with the New York Police Department and Department of Finance. It looks like this bill is written, they don't have to pay for the parking when they go as a commercial vehicle.
Thank you for clarifying. That was my question, because it wasn't clear. I read it. It wasn't clear.
It wasn't. And obviously, given the DOT's testimony, it looks that way. Since they're talking about they'd have to change, re-engineer the existing payment system, which is another wrinkle that makes it challenging. Next, which I think is, additional roof stands. The DOT is working with the TLC to expand the number of relief stands. They don't deal with it district by district, so they don't know that. But the question I have for you is, once identified, should Lyft and Uber be called on to help finance what bathrooms located in areas where there are over 80,000 drivers with benefits? Because there's no statement about how these are located, other than they can find space. Is there a bathroom located near them? Is it more of a seen as a place where you can stop and not get ticketed and not necessarily have them? So if the bathroom has to be created or is overused, it's a commercial enterprise bathroom they're using. Should there be some responsibility by Lyft and Uber who do benefit from these over 80,000? Think about that, and I think next in this discussion, because I do want to hear what you're thinking.
Yeah, thank you for confirming about that it would be given to them for free. That was the proposal.
I tried to find
Yeah,
out.
I read everything. I opened all the links. And then also, I mean, from a policy perspective, why would they deny why wouldn't this apply to yellow cabs? I'm just thinking if that was their concern, it should apply to everybody. I mean,
Because they have more stops. There are stops that are specifically for taxis. And so what they're saying is that they haven't been complaining. It's the for hire vehicles. Because one, there aren't as many taxis per stop. When there are more stops, and there are a lot fewer taxis.
but those taxi stands that I've seen, they're usually in their car. They don't leave it parked there. So that's why I don't know why.
Which is why I wonder if they're assuming when the DOT finds these spaces, it's for that purpose, more than they're getting out to buy lunch, to use a bathroom. But this bill purpose, I took from the bill itself, is that they can get out and use bathrooms.
I don't support this bill. I think it, as you said in your presentation, it would take away from the capacity of deliveries. And then I think it will get abused and it will not be enforced. So I think, and it'll add chaos and loss of revenue for New York City.
I agree. But I know you've explained to me before, so I'm sorry. Commercial metered loading zones. Are these are different than just like loading zones, right? Which are
Not
everywhere,
so much in the downtown Alliance catchment area, where they're almost all just needed.
They are.
Well,
So,
according to downtown Alliance, and they should know that's their business to know that. All this data came from them.
So like trucks that come and stop and park it to make a delivery, they're paying
It's, since they talk about having 60 of them.
sometimes.
So there's truck loading zones, that's where the expectation is that the truck can pull up, load and unload relatively quickly. They don't pay for the meter. But that's also the challenge, it's not always worse, so you'll see trucks staying there or parking longer than they should be. that as well. Commercial metered parking, you have to pay to load and unload and to park. And then there's also neighborhood loading zones, where that's, the idea is, for hire vehicles, regular private vehicles and commercial
I
vehicles.
don't think we have any of this.
I don't think so either. They're mostly in CB3 actually. But if they were to be installed, that's for the, basically anyone can do pickup and drop off.
But those all have to be active.
It's,
How and when do they pay? Do they pay ahead of time or?
no, it's
Is it like
it's the same
same
with
with
meter,
the-
yeah.
So like the driver gets out and just,
Where you have like that.
Sounds like a lot, yeah.
yeah, I didn't know this is, okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree there. I mean, it's just a recipe for disaster. I mean, the way you deal with this is you build more relief stands, where you build, more public bathrooms, you don't just say park wherever you want.
Which, to follow this point, with build more relief stands and build more or restrooms for drivers. That's where Uber and Lyft can come in with the bill.
So we have one person saying there should be some contribution, a request for contribution.
Right.
I support a request for a contribution. I'm suspecting that you have a resolution start. Should we look at that?
No, in that many of the statements you heard, but that's good. Would make it up, because all they are is really background information, and they had to give you background information to know what I could find out, to see if the bill was even doable. Deal with. I will show you some, therefore be it to resolve, to react, because I find that's just easier. Get feedback in a rapid way, as well as to have something concrete that you know what you're voting for. You can look at it, you don't have to change it here. Example, it's gonna be typed the way it's going to be voted on from here. So it looks like people are saying, let's move forward with this one, but let's have it one. And this is the other question. If we oppose passage, do we want it amended, unless it's amended for the area south of Canal Street, which is the area for the downtown alliance, or do we think, period? Oppose passage, period.
For all citywide. I oppose it for all citywide. I don't know why we would give them special treatment, giving them access or right to public, right of way without charge, as everyone else has to pay.
Well, and also not saying let's exempt ourselves, but
Yeah.
screw everybody else in the picture.
Yeah.
But those are the things that I proposed, but I want to get feedback before I make that cut. Brendan, you agree? Just put the period after 2025. Zach, would you change that? On the slide itself?
It was, it's a bit of a pain.
Isn't that hard to type?
Well, it's gotta go out of it. Just end it after April 2020.
Put a period after, or
1,000 hyphen 2025.
Oh, and semicolon and,
No,
no,
second.
can't you just delete them, yeah, and then just use, yeah. Now for the second part. Support the addition of more relief stands, which I heard, but request that the app companies be given financial responsibility, given some financial responsibility to install and maintain the bathrooms near the relief stand locations. So again, not just any or all, it's needed.
I
You
would,
want to-
I don't, yeah, I know why you name check them, but I would name check them, because there are more than just the two of them. They're much smaller, but it's still, I would
Okay.
say maybe like, just refer to them.
Leave them as app companies,
Yeah,
if you just get rid of that.
the for hire app companies. Or maybe even just like the for hire companies, because I'm thinking of like, there's some that don't have apps necessarily.
You would agree? Okay, I just want to get some kind of consensus. We can get rid of after for hire vehicles. After that, cut it out until that profit from.
Yeah.
That's it, Zach? Yes.
Yeah.
How's that? I need some legal background, who gets this one.
It's not legal, it's more just,
Right, but as soon as you can spot things, it's, would be when going to our council person or other council people, they can say, I don't want this to underwrite.
we're not asking for them to. Okay, I mean, this doesn't make sense. This is not a complete sense. Yeah, yeah. What are we trying to say? We're trying to say we want the addition of relief stands. And that's,
It's the first one, right? And if will be resolved, the people who would benefit, which are these for hire vehicles, the profit from these drivers pay some.
And the for hire vehicle companies that profit from over 80,000 for hire vehicles.
be given some financial responsibility to us. Okay. It shouldn't be given, that's not really clear. It should be, like, they should take some responsibility. Yeah. But,
Well, they don't have any now. The question is,
right, I know that's why I'm kind
it
of,
should take out voluntary.
that's why I'm a little queasy on that part, because like, what does that really mean? Like, you can't,
So they should contribute financially to the install and maintenance of batteries near release stations. Stands.
You want to just use that wording?
sure. I just don't really know what we're asking for. Like, what does that mean? You know,
What
like,
we're trying to ask for is, since these companies are the ones that are making money,
yeah,
they should be
If we create
contributing.
more of them, yeah, the DOT creates more for them.
Yeah, versus,
but how? Like where do we ever see that?
Can we be that prescriptive?
well, there are plenty of things that like are on public property that like private companies support. So like, I'm gonna dumb this down, but like dog parks and things, like many of those are actually supported by independent like businesses.
Yeah.
Also, is it City Bike? I mean, City
Yeah.
Bike is a little company that utilizes public space for free.
But they don't provide any, like, besides the service they're selling people, they don't provide any other, like a bathroom that's outside of what they're.
No, you know, as a private individual, when you're on the clock in your car, you know, you have no place to leave yourself, you know. I mean, we're on the road for hours, right?
I think he's just saying that like City Bike's not paying for any kind of maintenance.
Yes,
Do they own all the bikes, or they just operate it?
I think they
We
own it.
own them all. Yeah.
Well, all right.
I'm not certain, see, like, they do own the bikes, and they oversee the
Payment.
day-to-day operation and maintenance. Well, DOT, we're mostly just responsible for selecting.
Location.
So, but I mean, that's an example of maintenance at least that a private industry is doing for the city.
Yeah,
But that one's directly related to their product or service they're selling.
So
it says this, isn't it?
Well,
I mean, they
These
just,
are lease stands.
Oh.
But the whole bit of the movement we've had of getting public bathrooms located and built and situated has been really pulled back. It's very slow. And part of it is finance. Let's give them some revenue stream. And I don't want to guess how the legislators would do that.
Yeah, I agree with all of it. It's just like weird civics and public policy to be like, you gotta pay for this, you're gonna come, you're, like, you know, we have taxes, pay taxes, and then we decide what to do with it.
I mean, you might-
It's on public land, doing, you know, why should we worry about putting more batteries?
maybe,
Make it better.
maybe it
We're
could
the
be
ones who
more
want to
than
pay
one.
cars.
All right.
Well, not,
The-
yo,
I don't know,
So maybe it's not so much that we are demanding, but we're encouraging them to take some responsibility. But also by putting this in language, I think what's probably the hope is that then politicians are gonna be, that wrote the bills, et cetera, will have this in the back of their head as like, oh, yeah, maybe we should actually get them to do it because they have money and they're benefiting from it. So let's partner versus like them getting off, on just making a profit and then putting the onus on us as the taxpayers to try to build those
I mean,
bathrooms.
I don't support should be given. I support that they be given.
If
this is hard, but I did the italics were removals.
Yes, and you can get rid, whatever, you can get rid of what he has highlighted right now,
yes.
So,
to simplify the wording.
I think we're saying two different things. We support the addition of more relief stands. And
Yes.
we need the word and.
Yeah.
I
Right?
understand.
so this is a clause.
You're pointing to a screen that we can't do.
CB1 supports the addition of more relief stands for hire vehicles that are currently licensed and working. Oh, okay, so that clause refers to
This is.
Why don't you just delete
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Stuff that's written in red is gonna be deleted, then delete it.
Yeah, but also delete that are currently licensed and working in the city of New York. That's, okay, that's
So that's all
redundant.
Right, just delete it.
Delete it. Bye. Okay. Okay, and the, well, how are we gonna refer to them? The companies,
The for hire vehicle companies that benefit from.
Companies.
just. And requests, if we're referring to CB1, right? We support the addition and requests that the some like companies bear some financial responsibility. Bear financial responsibility for installing. Bathrooms near, something like that.
What about
Closer.
most financial responsibility? The majority. Not too much.
And bear
I think bear
some
financial.
level of financial responsibility. How about that?
And I would go back to just bear, like what you had before. You also don't need to comment on for hire vehicles.
Right, because we got rid of the,
Financial control sign, anytime.
Fuzzy.
Stand locations. Sure. You can take the comment out from the first for hire vehicles.
Sure.
Okay.
Do we say bathrooms or restrooms?
Or
The
whatever
other,
you want.
Right, why do you, what's the difference in
I
your?
don't know, I think bathrooms is like at home, restrooms or public.
Okay.
Done.
Right.
You learn something new every day.
I would just say, I think in New York City law, they've been calling them back.
Oh, see if we want to be called them restrooms.
All right.
I want to take a bath.
Some do, probably.
Was there an additional therefore be?
Some probably do other things.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Right, that's how we do it most.
We're good there.
Well, anybody can propose anything they want. That's why there's a discussion.
And it looks like we're gonna either not be able to vote tonight and have to vote for the full board, or vote it, if we want to wait till the end of the night to see if anybody joins, vote all at the same time.
I would always do that before giving up completely. No, we can leave it as if, but if we can do a quick vote at the end, we will, given that, I don't know.
Next step.
This is really disappointing. Even fewer people have come to the meeting, and I'm surprised that that moves on.
So we can't vote. Shut down. Comes to see you.
Here we have it.
Anyways, not available, so.
We're cutting the meeting.
It's fine. We'll do that time.
Yeah, we have to find some more dedicated people. But we have two people who are out of state. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's go on to the next one and see if we can move on, maybe.
Vote on the next one, all right, but we'll.
Maybe Richard and Christine will show up.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get?
Okay.
I just went over to Jeff.
I
Another,
just selected whatever they gave me.
So-
No, no. I told
we're done with our science gathering.
Okay.
Another piece of legislation here, this is an interesting one, is planting vegetation on medians, sort of separating bike lanes from motorized vehicle traffic. So just gonna go through it briefly. This bill would only apply when there's a new median that is separating a bike lane from vehicle traffic and would require the DOT and the Parks Department to jointly determine whether vegetation, trees and other such shrubbery can be planted on the median. And when feasible, would require the DOT to install it on the median. So interestingly, the DOT, which testified in favor of this bill, has said that they already encourage this. Under their street design manual and the street improvement projects, they're pretty much already doing this. This law would basically just codify it, put all the best practices together and make sure that it's happening all the time. And it aligns with broader policy goals, and this is from the DOT's own street design manual. But there's a lot of research about this, about how it improves pedestrian and cyclist safety. It provides mitigation for the heat island effect and stormwater issues. It also obviously just makes our streets more lovely and livable. A big part of this legislation is around the term feasible. It only requires the installation of vegetation on a median where it's feasible. And there are a lot of factors that are written into this legislation, including public safety, which includes visibility, sight lines, clearance, suitability for growth, which is actually interesting in our district in particular, taking into account things like the soil depth, the availability of sunlight and drainage, the impact on underground infrastructure, another big issue in our district, and then maintenance capacity, whether there's the actual ability for the Parks Department to maintain this. That was actually not written into the legislation, but the DOT said at the hearing that that would be part of the feasibility study as well. Just to be clear, this would not require DOT or parks to install any vegetation if it's not deemed feasible, and it's up to them to deem it feasible. So this is a pretty nimble piece of legislation.
Parts does
Yeah.
take.
I think the maintenance of the tree.
Take care of the trees.
Yeah.
They take care of the trees everywhere, even on DOT.
Or at least they're supposed to. So some interesting potential impacts here in Lower Manhattan, obviously because of vaults and a lot of underground infrastructure, we oftentimes.
Subways.
And so, right, some ways, we oftentimes can't place trees on sidewalks, so this might provide an opportunity to get some of those trees. Yes, would introduce greenery, shade, environmental benefits in some of our really dense areas. And of course, would support climate resiliency and make our streets lovelier. So, yeah, we were thinking just if the committee agrees, just a clean resolution supporting this bill, nothing really fancy.
Can you give an example of a location maybe in our district or in our community where this could?
So that could be real happy with this.
But like it's talking about where there's a bike lane and they're going to use the medium to separate them from the drivers. Like where do we have an example?
Well, instead of like parked cars for Sixth Avenue,
Sixth Avenue is like, I think the only one I can think of.
Okay.
or some other, DOTs to be looking at Church Street.
Mhm.
So there are some of those that, where it could be.
And my understanding is this would not apply retroactively, like it would only,
Sure.
but actually, it's good that we don't have that many, because if we get them, then we could get the new digs.
Although potentially DBs could ask that they be. But I wouldn't say retroactive isn't going to happen, but
Still good, but probably would do.
What's interesting, and I recall there was a tweet by Eric Botcher. And he got in his district, because he's a committeeman,
He's the lead
Absolutely.
sponsor.
he's the sponsor on the bill. But he had one put in a street in his district. And people were so amazed that he actually got the DOT to do it. And just put it in. Nobody even thought it was even possible that they could get a tree planted, not on the sidewalk, but in the street. Again, it was an area that had vaults and so they were excited. They couldn't otherwise have trees.
I have concern about this. I appreciate having trees as a calming effect on the street, but this bill doesn't make transportation capacity one of the considerations. Like, public safety is the most important thing, right? You know, we want to make sure that no cars can enter the bike lane, and that can be addressed through Jersey barriers. But now to say, to prioritize planting of trees, which would require, I don't know, 3 to 4 feet just width, it doesn't address transportation capacity. The space on the street is already limited. It should only be considered when there's space available. Because he's saying for future ones to always, to prioritize having a median with vegetation.
It doesn't quite do that. It says where there is a median. If they're already putting it in. right?
Okay, so for future ones, right? So,
Yeah.
so if you have a street that they're gonna put in a bike lane and a protected bike lane, thank you, a protected bike lane, I read this as saying that now you must have a median.
No. No. So if they were just like put up a non-protected bike lane on, I don't know, say Chambers Street, it wouldn't require every bike lane be protected.
No, a protected bike lane. So is this saying that every protected new bike lane, every new protected bike lane has to have a median? With
No,
vegetation?
No, it just says if it is protected, if it's protected with a median, then you put vegetation on the median.
So if they're,
Okay,
Like,
okay, so if there is going to be a median, regardless of what's gonna be on the median,
Right.
to put vegetation there,
And to
okay.
your point, it's like if it's a really narrow street
Mhm.
and like the median is too small, like part of the feasibility question, like we're taking into account whether you could actually fit the trees. And if you couldn't fit the trees, then it's not feasible and it's not done.
Didn't he have 10th Avenue,
Was that?
didn't he have like, he was, instrumental in the 10th Avenue bike lane from meatpacking all the way up.
That's the, yeah, that was like, that's the one.
That's what-
Fine.
Because
Yeah.
he was the one who inspired me to go to Central Park, the battery to Central Park.
Right, it's, why.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah,
So only if there will be a median.
only if
Okay.
there will be a median.
right.
And again, they're already doing this, right? So it's really just codifying it.
About the infrastructure, I'm glad you mentioned, or somebody mentioned about the infrastructure, by having planting beds, whether for a tree or not likely grass, but there's usually grass around some of the trees, especially over subway lines. You're adding more areas for water to trickle down to on top of the subway roof. So I'm glad that's considered, or it should be considered. Not just like, the condition of the soil and the vaults and utilities, but with these openings where rain, and look, that's part of the resiliency, but now you're adding more water onto the roof of these subway tunnels. It could lead to more infiltration. I just hope that they consider that. There's always more costs with them.
That's a big deal for the DOT.
Yeah. Actually, MTA.
Well, I'm sure they are. The DOT really does.
cool.
So we can't vote, so it doesn't matter, but
I'm wanting to see how people feel about it and the wording. You have any-
I didn't put it in here, but I like, that makes it simple, what we had, but
Could you type something?
we could, but it would literally just be CB1 supports passage of intro, whatever it is. That's what I'm thinking, because we don't have anything we want to change. We could put something nice in there, like encourage council member to get on as a co-sponsor. Otherwise, that's how I envision it. I don't think anything needs to change.
For public safety, you mentioned visibility, which I think is great, but I'd also like to add in something for visibility in terms of at night. Because if you're gonna have these trees now on both sides, I actually think the lighting that we have, the street lighting, is insufficient. It was designed at a time when we didn't have all these street trees, and especially with the LED lighting, it's very focused. And the height might need to be adjusted, or maybe the the spacing needs to be reevaluated, because if you look on many streets that have, mature trees, it's very dark. Now, if you're gonna have two sets of trees, two rows of trees on the sidewalk or next to each other, that'll make things dark. And I think that's a public safety issue.
Or. Yeah.
Hi, I'm just a community member. I was told it might be helpful for me to come by here. I don't want to interrupt though if you're in the middle of something. Is there a good time for me to speak? Okay.
We can work, we can talk outside.
Oh,
Oh, okay, sure. So there's the, kind of the annual permit proposal.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
oh, wow, I think I know too. Okay.
We will thoroughly get in trouble. Yes. Yeah, we'll mention that, I don't know.
As long as there's a mention of it,
Yeah.
that needs to be part of the consideration for illumination at night.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Anything else? Anything else that's not being considered here? I think it's well thought out. It makes sense.
Yeah, so straightforward. Great, see, all of we just had somebody who can actually vote.
Yeah,
Can shut up. Okay, great.
I know, thought it was a board member. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
A new board member, yeah.
We have someone who wants to, have their hand up.
Oh, that's Mary Ann. She can't vote, dude. That's the point. She can certainly speak, but she can't vote.
Mary Ann, you're unmuted.
Hello. Hello. I just had two comments. One is that anything planted along a bike path should leave plenty of room for visualization, for seeing what's beside you, what's coming, so that safety can be maintained. In other words, nothing tall should be near an intersection.
yeah, so they just.
And further, what with some gardening background with the Battery Park City Authority, planting beds normally will absorb rainwater and not conduct it like down to a subway. So for the most part, soil will be holding water, rather than, sending it elsewhere. Unless drainage is built in. My biggest concern, I'll just comment, is with the trees. They have big roots. They need big root systems and a lot of soil. So I think this should be more, like a meadow, those gardens where people are trying to plant natural flowers that birds that travel through can use and feed from. Because they don't get as tall and they can live in drought, dry conditions generally, because nobody's going to be going out there with a hose to water these. So you don't want all the plants that are put in to be dead in a year, because they're hard to maintain if they're out in the roadway. So this feasibility, these are all things that the DOT will have to consider, but.
Well, the Parks Department is the one who's actually caring for the trees.
Well, I wish them good luck to get out there and be able to water them. I don't know how they'll do it, but if there is a way, great. Because I love plants and I love bike riding, but it may work. I'm just here to put an opinion out.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
Have the same challenges as the sidewalk. There's no question in terms of maintenance. The Parks Department has certainly been challenged by budget cuts in the past. Who knows what the new administration will do? But does that affect anybody's vote in favor of the bill? I think you would vote. Support.
Sounds like we're ready for number 3.
Seems like it.
Okay, yeah, and Zach, in terms of this, what can we do with full boards? If we can't done anything as a committee.
Or could we take it to
I mean,
the?
But we have to carry it till next month, which is also possible since we've already discussed it.
yeah, you could just do that. You could just table these and then.
What do you say we do that?
At the top of the next month's meeting.
Next month, we have the canal, we have DOT presenting the DOT. Or sending the Canal Street, which could be time consuming, get hard to predict what's gonna happen.
I think if we bring these up at a future meeting, we're not talking about it again,
Right,
we're voting for it. Formality.
so this would be actually an ideal thing to put after that, because it's really been looked at already.
So, yeah,
Yeah, so I know, I go with Zach on this one, let's consider,
Or next?
no one's gonna show up out of the blue. We should-
Well, here's the hard part, which is next month is December. You know, we have low turnout now.
It's a big issue, so you're probably doing a little better.
yeah, I think we're-
Well, you can ask Tammy to please show up, or tell people to please at least get online and Tammy, please approve it.
We have to assume we don't have one. Just.
I was gonna say, this is the first time in a long time we've had no quorum.
Number three.
But we will have to guilt people into showing up because this is ridiculous. To have so many people who haven't been here in months, in months. So thank you, my reliable people.
that's right.
And we move on to the next one, which is a quoted CB3's Manhattan resolution. This is a request for an expeditious safety improvement, Manhattan Bridge offering.
Mm.
And this is where, again, I want to remind people, we'll be talking about this next month, so this in some ways is getting in advance of next month. The very end of this section, on the right-hand side, that's fine, right-hand side. This is where you have the Manhattan Bridge. And this is exactly what CB3 resolution is addressing. So we do have to keep that in mind, because whatever we pass tonight can't be backpedaled. Whatever we do tonight can't be backpedaled next month. It'll be part of. But it gives us a heads up on this portion this month related to the specific area. Given next. CB3 is therefore be it resolved. You can see they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 requests. And maybe a minute to take a look at it.
I already know they're gonna be in
Because-
opposition.
Well, no, well, my point is, one, you do not have to report every detail. You pick and choose what makes sense to us. And two, whatever we pass will have to be defensible next month. So you don't want to put something, you're gonna turn around and hope to do something different on the Canal Street resolution. So those two things have to be foremost in your mind as we move forward with this particular.
I know that there's a board member that's going to impose at least 3 of those bullets. It's not for me to say.
Some of that, I can't worry about that. I want you to have more details for you to keep in mind. Next. So again, I pulled all the information I could that was relevant. Oh, they had a second. Therefore, it was wrong. I thought this was rather redundant, but not for completeness, you might as well see it.
Yeah, why is that?
Okay.
Why was that separate? Okay.
Okay, so next,
There's a lot of.
we don't have to deal with every. Anyway, in 2024 and 2025, CB1 signed on to resolutions about the Manhattan Bridge in the area right around it. This we are somewhat bound by because we have already signed on to it. I want to make sure that you're aware of it and what those points were.
What is the speed limit on the bridge now?
Right now, it's 20 miles per hour.
On the
No,
bridge?
no, on the bridge it's 35.
Yes, yep. As you exit the bridge, it goes down to 20 miles per hour as you exit. I don't care about what it is the rest of the bridge. Doesn't really matter. Fact is, and we were told this by the DOT when we became a regional slow zone, they only recently made the change. Signage. It is currently 20 miles per hour as you exit onto the streets.
Right, but
On the bridge is 35. Just,
But again, I don't really
Okay,
care about that.
But this is saying to reduce the speed limit on the Manhattan Bridge.
this was saying, yeah.
But only to lower the variance, which they did to 20 miles per hour. Technically on the bridge.
See,
immediately before.
okay.
Nevertheless, they're getting the sign there. Well, before people exit the bridge, they're told it's 20 miles per hour. They're not going down the street and then guessing.
So is CB3 asking for the off ramp to be lowered below 20? Is that part of their resolution?
No, they originally wrote 25 miles per hour, which is what the CB 123 and the elected officials letter said. But since then, went back to the dates, and the regional flow zone was passed after that first letter was written. So it is 20 miles per hour. It's not 25 miles per hour on the street, on Canal Street. So it makes sense to say 20 miles per hour, not 25 miles per hour exiting Manhattan Bridge. Because the point is, as they said, to lower the variance with Canal Street itself.
Wouldn't it be more logical to lower the speed limit, or to ask for a lower speed limit on the entire bridge? Because, you know, people race across the bridge and then,
How
what if
big
they
a
don't pay
fight
attention?
do you want?
Okay.
Cody wants a pretty big fight.
I was gonna say, obviously you want a really big fight, but this is also a letter that's already been signed and endorsed by
Right.
CB1
They,
and the elected officials. So keep that in mind. This is something that you can't really go against.
well, a lot of, you know, the reporting on the folks who were killed last horrible accident
Right, which is what inspired the CB3 resolution.
but a lot of the language describing what happened was the cars get on that bridge, they fly across like an expressway, and then don't pay attention sometimes, and they're thrust down into the street at high speeds. You know, just because something's saying, there's a sign saying slow down because we're approaching the exit, some people aren't paying attention when they're
Do
driving.
you think they are quarter of a mile back?
Probably not. I mean, but it's just true.
Do you agree though, staying consistent with what CB1's already signed on? And this is what CB1's already signed on.
Yeah, I question whether or not we need a resolution because, again, knowing certain board members are not going to support CB3's bullet points, is really these three that we have already said, and those are the ones that are going to be supported.
Well, let's
and we
wait
can-
and see that therefore get resolved this. I pray, because I don't think there's as big a discrepancy as you think.
Okay.
Because did I take word for word what CB3 said? No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I said at the beginning. It has to be interpreting what they said and supporting the parts that are consistent with what we think we can.
Okay, but why would we just say we continue to support what we've already said, essentially?
Do you want to cut off CB3? Because again, it's gone back and forth with our leadership saying we shouldn't be opining on things that are completely outside of our district, which this is. At other times they sign on. So it's inconsistent where it's coming from.
It's also just like up here, you know, it's like two community boards are supporting it. Looks better.
Well, CB2 is looking at it as well. So
Three community boards.
we have the three that are on along Canal Street. And in fact, CB2's border goes all the way to the west side of the valley. So in fact, this is really kind of within their district and on the north side.
Let's see what the,
This is,
Oh, and also the DOT has made some changes based on CB3's request that they spoke about in September. And so these things have actually made some changes. So you can see the lowering the bridge speed limit is what I said, that was already done. So yes, I want to know what people think in general. We've heard Brendan's perspective, sort of Cody's. Do you want to just see?
let's look, yeah,
Okay.
it's clearer than.
Well, the wording is pretty. Sparse. But anyway. So it is supporting their call to expeditiously implement speed improvements. But it's one, lowering the speed limit near Canal Street to 20 miles per hour. Lowering the barriers, installing the barriers, which is something that they asked for, to protect pedestrians, which I can't imagine people opposing. If they do, they're just gonna vote no anyway. And then using automated enforcement. Question is, We put that, or we just put in, like put in parentheses, instead of using automated enforcement, say just add methods that will slow traffic approaching Bowery and Bristol Street and support them now.
I like to mention automated enforcement.
I mean,
Right, but is that gonna give us hassles, passage of CV1?
Yes, but I still want to say.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir. Yes, I don't see a problem. They're using, the DOT is using the same tools they always do, the same solutions, reduce speed and, reduce lanes. And I don't see traffic capacity being considered at all. Lowering the speed to 20 miles per hour, I mean, it's a straightaway. Initially, traffic, speed cameras were there for safety, but to have it on the entire bridge, to reduce the speed, you're gonna have bicyclists
But we're
going on
not
the bridge.
asking that, but we're not asking that.
Yeah, I think the
No,
language.
just, but, okay, but,
that will it.
okay, true, but I hope it doesn't extend to that, thank you. Other ways of ensuring pedestrian safety is, has a pedestrian bridge been considered? That would be a great tourist attraction. I mean, why are we always just considering the same ways of constricting and restricting traffic flow? That's always the same output. I'm saying that from the DOT's perspective, that's always what it is. How about a bridge so that pedestrians can be safe as well? I mean, and just please think beyond what, reducing the speed and reducing lanes. That's all I ever hear.
We're not asking.
Like a bridge.
I want to hear more about this bridge.
Yeah, like, let's say a bridge at the portal to the Manhattan Bridge on the Bowery. There's a lot of public space, I mean, there's a lot of space, the right of way is quite wide. Why not have a bridge going from,
Pedestrian bridge over.
yes, I mean, that would be a great tourist attraction as well. So I'm using that as an example of allowing pedestrians to be safer, allowing increasing pedestrian flow without just using the same tools or solution or options of just reducing the speed, reducing lanes of traffic.
We're not asking for those two things, and they're worried about the people driving off the bridge, but not maybe crossing over.
But that accident, look, it was so sad, it really was. But what caused it was from the initial, what caused it was the lack of Jersey barriers. When they were making the curve, there were no Jersey barriers. There should have been Jersey barriers there. And look, hindsight's 2020. But if that were there, that would have not, then the deaths could have been prevented. So I think some people are using this as a reason to get all these changes through. And look, I don't want anybody else to get hurt in that area, but I don't want us to overreact and reduce the viability of that intersection. Canal Street, which connects to the Holland Tunnel, the Manhattan Bridge. This is an essential transportation artery for this whole area. I just don't want us to make things so much more restrictive for people and movement of goods.
It's an essential transportation hub for pedestrians too, right? I mean, like, I think Canal Street, like, the numbers, it was like 90% of people using it are pedestrians.
Right.
Why do we have to like put up big, like, concrete walls in order to keep people safe? Why can't we just enforce the rules that we're supposed to have about speeds? Like,
I mean, it is kind of,
remove pedestrians, put them on a bridge, why not make the street safe?
as a pedestrian, as a cyclist, approaching, just crossing over canal, went to the bike path. Bowery, right? It's terrifying, because in rush hour, people are, flying across the bridge, flying, I mean, it's like, everyone else be damned, and so I think some calming is called for. That's what this is, really, more calming, not squishing out traffic.
But it will, that's, whether that's the intent, but
People gotta stay home because
there's gonna be less
it's
traffic.
5 minutes.
And then now let's move the bridge. I'm just getting on this part. Let's move the bridge. Let's move the tunnel. How do we deal with that? That's, this is the area between the Holland Tunnel and the Manhattan Bridge. These are vital transportation arteries. What do we do about that? I mean, we can't move the bridge and tunnel.
Do you think there's an opportunity then to add maybe, on top of these, to your point, encouraging the DOT to think about different options instead of just these?
Wouldn't the suggestion I made for the third bullet, and call it
Or
add
add
methods,
methods.
slow traffic approaching barreling distance.
Yeah, but I think maybe the language might need to be a little bit more specific.
But I was like, think to play with this rather than adding on.
You're okay with that third bullet?
Well, that's the same, it's the same tool, I didn't mention it, but that's, yeah, that's the same tool that they're gonna do, and
They work. Like, should people follow speed limit or not?
I agree, they should,
So
they
then
really
why-
should, now, and I wonder how people will feel in the future when this happens, will this apply to bicyclists in the future, will this apply to pedestrians? They also create, they also break the rules as well, look, I'm saying this tongue in cheek as well, but there's gonna be a time when that'll probably be in the future as well, cyclists as well, and through probably facial recognition. I just feel that,
It's already happening. They're sending them, giving them criminal summonses. They're putting in 50-mile.
It's much harder.
Back then,
Somebody
it's tough.
getting a ticket on the bicycle if they're going over 20 miles an hour. On that narrow bike lane on the Brooklyn Bridge, it's like,
So it sounds like we could potentially have a consensus on this, but we do need to change the language on the first one too, because it makes it sound like we're asking them to limit, to drop the limits, and we're talking about off.
Let's go on to the last of it and then come back to, because we do need to fix the wording. There's a second part to this, I believe. It can be moved. It's like,
Wheel wheel.
yeah, 'cause I don't have too much word redundancy to realize what the rest of it is. This is from the legs. So we continue to support these things.
Short-term street geometry adjustments.
And that's why because of these, we can maybe get rid of one of the things from the other.
Well, what is a geometry adjustment?
This is from the letter. I took it exactly.
I know, but what is it?
It would be, it would be changing in the markings, of the roadway, so
Putting in the pedestrian island.
it could be, yeah, it could be a painted pedestrian space, it could be a more narrow lane. Those are the examples that come to mind, it would be restricting turn movements, it would be changing to the markings.
To the markets. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so these are things we've already really signed on to with links. So if this may make some of the first portion redundant, because this isn't gonna be cut, this is already a registry. We go back now, we'll take a look at this. Can we get rid of the third bullet?
I think we kind of still need third bullet. I think we can probably get rid of the second bullet, because that's in our.
Right, that's in the letter.
Yeah.
Okay, get rid of the middle one.
We're not getting.
I mean,
Well, first, you could delete installing barriers substantial enough to protect pedestrians.
Zach, you don't edit.
That's what we want.
Yep,
That one.
yep.
Peace.
Okay. And then,
Now you're saying, now it's, do we keep, as the city one said, using automated enforcement, or do we put in rather add methods that will slow traffic?
it sounds like we want both.
So you mean and rather than or?
I think it's and or.
Okay, then get rid of the parentheses if you really want both. The parentheses are only there to say choose which you like.
And or, hold on, and or. Additional methods. To. Oh, that will.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
um,
I'm talking about the additional methods part.
yes,
To
yes,
to
yes,
address what you were saying. You might still vote against it, but.
yeah, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So does everyone generally agree this is kind of where we are with it? I want to leave it. Clean for another month and then we'll worry about voting.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's anything, what I don't want to happen, because we're voting for this next month and because the canal folks are gonna be here, is that like this doesn't blow up in our face after we talk to them for 2 hours and then we're trying to rush through and get these voted on. And then so I guess this is my encouragement of maybe like sending us an email to say, really look at this one because we're gonna vote on it and we're gonna limit debate to 2 to 5 minutes, because I will call that very quickly. For the people that are not here so that we can vote.
You know what? I agree. Because this is somewhat agreed upon, having a full draft that then is posted and people can see it in advance
Sure.
makes Brendan's comment very reasonable.
Mm.
What we can do is make those the start of the meeting and then let the DOT present it after that.
Yeah, without reopening.
Yep.
Vote on.
And get through, because then we have reason, and it shouldn't be a long delay for that group to then
And I
start.
think if you weren't here.
Well, I mean, even with abstentions, it's likely to pass.
Right.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
abstentions in opposition.
So I got a question.
Sir.
Would you go to the slide before,
Yes, sir.
where you did the and or for additional methods? Isn't the goal to improve, is it to slow traffic or is it to improve pedestrian safety at Bowery and Christie?
It's a fair question.
Well, you can change, as far as I'm concerned, to protect, to improve safety.
Can it be both? To slow traffic and increase
It
pedestrian.
is both, right? Right?
Well, you can certainly with both. If what Eric is getting at, you won't piss off some people who don't like the word slow
Or reduce capacity, I think that's.
or reduce capacity. I think there are two groups. Those words could trigger different people. It is another method of excluding those words that might be big red flags to some people. Which is why I'm asking you what words you really want to use. Do you want to improve safety? Approaching Bowery and Christie Streets. with
Pedestrian safety, right?
Pedestrian safety. Oh, the cyclists too.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we can put in pedestrian cyclist safety.
I mean, yeah, so I'm down for saying like additional methods to improve safety approaching Bowery, which then means we don't.
There's so much cars crashing.
Cars.
Yeah.
Cyclists, pedestrians. Yes, so let's change that to that, and I think that actually gets us closer to consensus.
It works.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you, Eric. I think you're right. Go for the goal rather than, because hearing too much to CV3's words.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, a better use of.
do you want to,
our goal.
do you want to say pedestrian and cyclist safety?
Yeah.
Or you don't?
Yeah, we're trying to improve safety for somebody. Yeah.
We
Well,
don't.
the number of injured
Not trigger.
in
Sure.
vehicle occupants is very high there too.
It's crashing.
As is property damage. Because keep in mind, after those two people were killed, which is very tragic, the week later, one ran into a food cart. And so there's property damage as well as, and I think all of it needs to be a concern. None of it is positive. And some people, people were hurt.
I think we're ready for our news you can use.
Great. See, look at how good you are at massaging this. The last part, again, isn't really changeable because it's already, it just came from a letter that's already. Now, I thought I'd do this news. This was taken from a group that does transportation. It's a University Transportation Research Center, City College, and they just looked at what the various candidates said. So now, it didn't matter who won, I had it covered for this one. In case you want to see what they said about transportation before the election day, and see maybe the environment that we might be working in as we move into next year and beyond. So I hope that inspires you to understand. Now, more news. Human rights benches promised, it was promised by the DOT, not just somebody on the street. Let's picture the bench likely.
I've
Next,
seen a lot pop up in our community.
well, then we were high on the list.
Yeah.
You can see, there are 175 benches. It should be. Bringing the time frame is for over a decade.
Which is funny because they're taking away benches in December.
Maybe that's what they're getting.
Maybe.
Wait, $40 million for 875 benches?
Good lord.
I need to go into the bench
At
making.
14,000 stops. So yes,
What?
That's,
Do they have a jetpack on them? Do they entertain me?
it's a civic center. It's,
These are very special benches.
I don't know. Anyway, that's the news released by the DOT about benches. The MTA made an announcement on installing more turnstile armor at almost every subway gate by the end of the year. That's that. And they do claim that this has reduced fare jumping, 20 to 30% decrease in fare evasion. It's their news. Next,
It's $45,000 a bench in case anyone was wondering.
barely could be.
Just go to West Elm and get them rolling.
Speed cameras coming to New York bridges. Let people know I didn't realize part of the year's state budget. It passed a speed zone, like red light cameras for work zones on MTA owned bridges. And so that's gonna start in 2026. Okay, so it's not just everywhere on the bridge, it's the work zones. Next,
Wait, what do you mean?
there's manual labor being done, ripping up the lanes or something on a bridge that the MTA.
Got it.
There are gonna be speed cameras and other things there.
Okay.
During those periods for those locations. 15-mile-per-hour e-bike and scooter speed limit took effect in New York City. Now what to know? There were a lot of questions at the last meeting, so I just cut out some of the things that I saw in the news for you, so you become a little educated on what's been said. Next. This rule was proposed in June, and what's interesting, it aligns with the similar speed in European bike lanes, not the streets, not around the cars. So in no way does it align with the New York system that it's going to be operating in. Nevertheless, let's skip over that little accuracy. But NYPD is going to handle the enforcement as it does for vehicles. CBS News tried to get information from NYPD about their plans and got no information. You can hear it here. But they are going to continue to make it criminal enforcement.
Only the wires.
Yeah, only for bikers, but for e-devices. And 15-mile-per-hour only applies to them too. Everybody else can go 30 miles per hour because it's 10 miles over the speed limit of 20 in our district. So again, yeah, bikes and scooters are handled much, much more harshly than being in a vehicle. Nevertheless. This is from Gail Brewer, who puts her little news in there. And again, a bill that passed last month is now a local law. And this is one that has to do with a safety course for people who work for the app companies. Has passed. So that's one piece of regulation that's new. And next, there was a whole bunch of other legislation as well. We have one pending for prohibiting delivery worker deactivations to give them some protection. Delivery workers to verify their mopeds are used by the workers are actually registered with the DMV, so a little bit of enforcement on that law. Also to have pending for requiring delivery services obtain business license.
What's the prohibit delivery worker deactivation?
Because there was a lot of complaints by app workers that seemingly for no reason, all of a sudden they were deactivated and they weren't.
Right,
allowed to.
but this is saying that you won't be deactivated.
It has to be for calls.
Okay.
So you must be notified they're going to be active and what happened, why they're doing this.
They were complaining they were driving too slow and then getting deactivated, but they're actually following the law, so that's the.
Right. Incentivize them to go fast and do a
Right.
legal trip. And I mean, there's also an interesting report about how Uber's in-app directions were like telling people to make dangerous U-turns that are not legal. Someone was killed because of that. So just providing them some protection, because otherwise they can't. There's nothing they can do. Yeah.
So, you know, so there's various kinds of legislation that is kind of moving through city council. Next. Oh, this one, because e-bikes are getting more popular, now there's some interest in creating some secondhand e-bikes. They're looking to expand the market, which is kind of nice to have cheaper options for people, but hopefully they'll also be done more legally because these are gonna be legitimate local businesses that recycle, and we'll have less junk just thrown because it's also the recycle. Next, pay the business. Yeah, this is also from Florida legislation, which is pending, which is kind of interesting to see where are these regulation legislations going. And I wondered, is Florida going to be really ridiculously strict or crazy, but interesting what they have, what they're looking at. They want to create a new electric motorcycle category, which we already sort of have. We have a moped, which is a limited motorcycle, and that's where they're trying to fill a void. So New York already has this kind of legislation, sort of. We also tried to fill a void last month when we said these mode shifting and other things that kind of fall in the cracks, which I notice now they're calling them, it's going to come to me in a minute, but they call these bikes that are faster than class twos, but aren't full motorcycles, and they're Ural company. These will ban riders from under 16. Again, 750 watts is comparable to going more than 20 miles per hour. These are class 3 e-bikes or 750 watts, which again, New York City is looking to make them not legal to rent or sell. So again, not out of line really with the laws that New York City is already working on or has. For e-bikes and scooters to yield to pedestrians on shared paths and use an audible signal. That's added to anything I've seen here. Mandate crash reporting for incidents involving, we have that already in New York City. And establish penalties for tampering with motor or speed limiters on e-bikes, which we do not. It's sort of what we asked for last month by saying, what about these things? We did, those have just outright tampered.
Wait, who and how are people doing the crash reports?
Here, you have to report to the NYPD, just as if you were a vehicle crash. Well, exactly, and cars don't always report it either, and they just make agreements. So.
And also the police don't respond, right? And I've heard they don't respond, even if you call it, and no one's hurt, they don't respond.
Well, I find some of their reports difficult to interpret anyway. So I'm not saying ours is a good system, but I'm not saying theirs is gonna be any better either. Nevertheless, they have nothing. So New York has something. Next. Looking at the Florida legislation, which is also kind of, look at the very last sentence, which I thought was a kind of a twist that surprised me, but good. This is future drivers. This is everybody getting a driver's license. We need to demonstrate a knowledge of how to safely interact with smaller electric vehicles. It's true, car drivers don't really get tested on how to interact with bicycles and scooters. Florida is looking to actually make that part of their DMV. Yeah, which is,
Depends on where. So I had to in North Carolina.
yeah, but one time in New York. So interesting that that's what they're,
What they make you do?
Oh, you just need to know like one, the signs for like bikes moving, et cetera, and also like how much space to give them, that sort of stuff.
here.
And that was.
They would have to know speed limits, and things like that too. They have to know things like the signs where they can move on the pedestrian signal. So there are things that may be very important to me. Something we can consider for future resolution. Let's go back for a second. Was that the other one? Okay. Other than that, I'm interested to know if you have any feedback. This is a bill that's also pending in City Council. And this is a stop or a red light at every intersection with a crosswalk. Actually, like that. Next one, I think explains it a little bit. Again, saying that these are actually ambiguous because people assume there's a crosswalk, that there's something that there's some kind of action that the car is going to do, but why not put something there? Signal. The DOT says it already complies with national best practices, and so it's not necessary. So this is kind of where the battle is going to be on this piece of legislation. So you can all think about it and let me know if you have any particular desire to move forward with this. Next. Yeah, we had Empire Clean Cities talking about, next thing they were going to do was food deliveries on Governor's Island. And in fact, they did that this summer, that pilot project, and it is now ongoing, not still pilot. But I want you to know, I'm planning on asking them to please come and do an update. They talk about the pilot program and how it worked. Because these are the same kind of vehicles that will be coming next into our district on the main one. The next one.
They're gonna be delivering food with this? With those items?
Yes, because go back for a second, this one doesn't look refrigerated. If you remember, it was January 2025, where they did their presentation in Empire Clean Cities. They were a little bit lower rise and they were heavy duty and they need that with thicker walls so they can be refrigerated. This one is opposite deliveries of linens and other things, maybe beer and things that don't have to be.
So Betty, that would be classified as an e-bike, right? That's,
This is a commercial e-bike
and
in speak, DOT speak for New York City. Because those are the quads. And this is in fact a tricycle because it's one of our new ones.
that's larger than a car. I mean, at least obviously vertically, but almost the width and the length is larger. Oh,
Actually, it isn't. We always have big cars.
you don't know how small cars are too. We have small, cars vary in all sizes, like
Well,
smart
so-
cars or Fiats. But, and that type of vehicle or that commercial e-bike, they don't have to pay any registration. They don't need a driver license. They're getting away with the law never caught up to them and they can operate in bike lanes, right?
I don't know. If they're small enough, right?
They fill the whole bike lane, which makes it very impractical for them in bike lane. Because nobody else can be with them and they can't even pass another one of like kind. So keep that in mind, and that is an issue. Part of why I want to hear something about the update. Although Governor's Island is a different can of worms anyway. Next, but we have to get ready because the Highways Action Plan came out the 31st of October, so less than a week ago. And so I'm asked Zach is getting EDC to come and also give a discussion about their action plan. But to give you some heads up, you'll notice this all looks like our district here, because it is. Except the one in the lower right corner is actually in the Bronx. We've talked about it. Where they'd be coming from. The marine bases. Next.
Sorry.
Click.
Clicking.
The core logistics are no different than what we were told in the first place. Again, there's going to be a truck that brings them into a warehouse, and the warehouse, or there can be a marine vessel, because some of the places they're looking at. But then there'll be a marine vessel going from the warehouse to the places in Manhattan, where they will then do the last mile by e-bike. Or e-van, but everything they've talked about is doing e-bike, the commercial bike. So, the next one, this was a surprise to me. Like,
I want to say I was reading. Okay, sorry.
if you look, you'll notice in our district, there are 3 dots. Why? Because the planned construction is still planned construction, which is Pier 6. But we have planned activation, which means no construction is needed. This is Pier 11 as well as Governor's Island. And we know Governor's Island has already done a pilot project and is continuing. We have not heard about Pier 11 and how they're planning on doing that.
Where's their space on Pier 11?
As I said, we have not heard about Pier 11, which is why I really want Empire Clean Cities to come as well as having EDC come and talk about this plan. Because now that it's out there and this is what it says, and I can tell you, I communicated with someone who is chair of transportation at CB4, and they were, Pier 79 is in their district, and they were also jaw dropped. From them, like, what? What are they going to do? And then what are they going to be using for lanes to ride on? So there are a lot of questions and I'd just like to hear.
And are these, I don't really get it, like, these are not the warehouses where like, this is just where they're putting them on the bikes for the last mile?
This is where they're coming off the Marine Festival, coming from the warehouse. Step 1, they're in the warehouse.
We don't know where those warehouses are gonna be.
Well, we do know it. One of them, Hunts Point.
But they are. Okay,
And the other one is the Brooklyn Army Terminal, which is in Brooklyn.
Okay.
But in fact, because those both, see their little brownish dots, they still have construction and don't open until about 2027. And this is probably starting in 2026 because they're planned activations. This is what I want confirmed. You'll notice that Weehawken is also planned activation, and they get some of the freight coming in by water to them. So they could also be talking about the warehouses there. What we do know, and what we heard from Empire Plain City, if you recall, is they are looking at marine vessels big enough, they can load e-bikes that are already loaded with the products. They will just plain drive off the marine vessel and out onto the streets. There won't be any switching around like they are on Pier 6. But they're saying goods come in, then they shift things, those goods onto e-bikes and e-bike fleet. They're saying e-bikes will go straight from the marine vessel out. I want to hear.
Yeah, I'm skeptical. It doesn't make sense.
I want to hear the plan. That's why I want to hear Empire Plain Cities as well as EDC. And so Zach is going to plan those things, future meetings, hopefully, but I want you to know a heads up. Next, yeah, and as you can see, some of the promotional materials that have come out, like Spectrum News has interviewed on this with the EDC and the DOT. You'll notice the background, which district.
That's the artist.
Yes, it is. So it behooves us, this is again a case where this could, are these shipping containers going up to Weehawken or some of those? This can be the kind of case where things are moving much more on the blue highways at all ends, and some of the trucking may be reduced at other ends. So there's a lot of things we don't know that may be changing. Next.
Thank you.
This one. Do we have the capacity to look at a link?
Assume so.
Okay. This is actually in New Jersey. This is actually Jersey City. And on one of my, since I go to those talks on Fridays, there was somebody on, when we were talking about autonomous, they were talking about autonomous vehicles. And somebody who was online was from was on the DOT, working over in Jersey City and talking about the problems they're having with these things, which I understand the New York City DOT has not authorized. I mean, but have to watch out. Go to the next one.
What could go wrong? I mean,
Well, can you click that bottom one, because you can see I've clicked before? You have to see this little video to believe it.
you're on TikTok?
This?
Yeah.
TikTok?
This very bottom with the TikTok on.
I'd love to see you scrolling through things.
No, I got the link.
Oh, we can see TikTok.
It is really way worse than I imagined. It was, I thought. This person,
The difference on it.
See?
this person on mobility scooter certainly was bad, but pedestrians, it would have been even worse. This, well, hold this up and click on this on your home and you'll see it, and it was worse than I even imagined. Next. This one is also pretty horrifying. Back to automated, but talking about vehicles. You know Tesla is already having all these problems, and they don't use a lot of, they use just cameras, they don't use LiDAR or any of those other backups that are used on most autonomous vehicles. But they have what's called a Mad Max driver assistance. Oh my gosh. So what if that's how they sell it to their customers, able to navigate traffic at an incredible pace, driving a vehicle like a sports car. This is an autonomous vehicle with nobody monitoring. Exactly. So I'm glad the feds are kind of looking into this saying, what? And they have a request with the New York City DOT to start bringing these things to the streets of New York City. As far as I know, Mad Max, though, it is interesting.
I mean, you should be nervous because look at who's the head of
Exactly.
transportation, and then also like who's back in favor with this administration.
Although Elon has threatened in his Stop. Did you see about his stop?
Mhm.
Thing about his pay?
Right.
No one is saying that?
Oh, well, it got disputed.
Some of the big stockholders are saying no to it. $1 billion? He wants $1 billion pay?
Elon? Isn't it worth like 500?
Yes, it's that, yeah. I was thinking, it's that, yeah.
$1 trillion. And so some of his stockholders have said,
Or 5.
oh no. Yes. And he has sworn he is going to quit if he doesn't get the $1 trillion. So decide what Tesla is going to go on, but never mind. Unstable, tell them it's DOT, it sounds unstable.
This is probably for private, Tesla vehicles, so
Yes.
it's probably already available in New York City.
Sure.
Yes, these are in New York City. These are class threes, yes. And I have more on these vehicles next, which are not the class, not just Tesla. But this whole eyes-off driving is the class of vehicle we're talking about. I think it's 6 steps for autonomous. It's like step 3, level 3 automation. And this is, you can take your eyes off the road and see they show it. When you can have a screen and watch TV, you can do whatever. They give you a second notice. If the system realizes they can't handle it, they give the driver 1 second of notice that you better take over because there's something going on that we can't handle.
Let's see the like insurance liability.
Well, go to the next one, which
Interested in shit.
plus.
Yeah.
So yeah, last month General Motors added its name to the growing list of automakers that are pursuing this. Tesla Auto. Now, I thought distracted driving already exists in motor vehicles anyway, but this is kind of planned, saying they think they could do it.
Closer and closer to Wally.
Yeah.
And it is raising the whole issue of the insurance people have said, whoa, it's a whole area that hasn't been worked. But yeah, this is out there. People should be aware. This is something. Next. Which is why I'm so into autonomous vehicles and all the regulations around them, even more so than the West one. Because I think the same errors are going to go on. Next.
Why is it a tricky problem for regulators? Just don't allow it.
No, going to the MIT initiative, which is fascinating stuff. The people who are on the inner workings of this have said, you do not want to legislate something that will be obsolete in less than a week. So unfortunately, you're kind of left with to stand back a little bit to see what, to get a better scope. You can't legislate that rapidly.
Right.
And you don't want to legislate the wrong thing. So all those things compound issue of regulations anyway, which is why e-bikes, look at how far the whole layout.
Right.
Autonomous vehicle is going to be the same thing happening, which is a lot of the discussions Cody's interested in seeing with the MIT initiative. Because these are the things that are get discussed every Friday. So next. Now we have Tensor robocars. So there are more and more car brands that are getting into it, as well as the brands that are making up a software for these vehicles. And so Tensor is now in a deal with this with Lyft. And Lyft has put together a package because they want vehicles made especially for them, and they want them to come off factory line already set up to be used as autonomous vehicles for Lyft on their system. And so that is happening straight out of the factory. Next, and they're not the only ones doing it. Again, look at what they're marketing it for. The futuristic form of passive income for owners. Again, these are level 4. And what they're saying is, and I didn't realize this until I saw these discussions, the MIT initiative, these are made to be operating 24 hours a day. They are not meant to be parked. So if you're thinking about, you don't need to take a bathroom break. On the other hand, they don't really need curb space and don't plan on using it. They want to stay ever in motion. Now think about congestion and that perspective,
Yeah.
which is a whole other thing.
What do you mean? How do they go for 24 hours?
What would stop them?
The walls of physics, like they're like solar powered?
No, but I mean, you can have battery life for an extended period of time. Like you can, yeah, especially like in the city. And to bring it closer to home, that means that these Waymos that we're seeing in our neighborhood already are gonna be going 24 hours.
Yes, they probably are already.
Well, no, because they're not fully autonomous. They still have a human behind them.
Oh, well, actually, some of these level fours are too, they can just be eyes off the road.
But yeah, but I just meant the ones that they're testing right now, or not,
They
probably.
have to have somebody in them. Whether the DOT licensed them to also go 24 hours would be the issue for these. Once they're done at the end of the year and what moves forward, don't know. But in general, if you go to other cities, they are operating 24 hours a day. Because again, these discussions on Fridays are fascinating, like all the autonomous things.
Any good news?
Well, actually, the people who are working on it have said they're actually safer than human drivers. As much as they complain, and they complain a lot, they said the statistics are still better than putting humans on.
It's not just about safety, right? It's about like congestion, like.
Congestion.
Well, that's a whole nother issue, but that's a matter of, I haven't heard a lot of complaints about that yet. And the question then is, New York City, when they passed congestion pricing, they decided to charge a congestion fee if the vehicle, passenger pays it. So we don't charge vehicles, TLC vehicles, for just driving around. Again, maybe we need to look at, and that's another possible resolution in the future, to rethink congestion pricing as we get more of these vehicles when they come online. If it
Well-
makes sense.
Being that we have 80,000 plus for hire vehicles already on the streets, do we need to add another?
These are probably replacing those.
Yeah, those are replacing those.
I mean,
Don't assume they're adding.
Yeah.
we need-
What they're saying is people are investing in these things, which last a couple of years. The vehicles could replace them with autonomous as they're allowed. And autonomous is seen by people, some are willing to pay into them. Individuals as well as these groups, because they can generate revenue 24 hours a day.
But then, so I've been asking myself, like, who wants this? Like, who wants these autonomous, like, taxis, et cetera? And then, like, do they think about the fact that, like, it's gonna be taking, like, jobs away from people?
Right.
But it sounds like, well, it sounds like it is, because there's gonna be fewer people that can operate, or that are gonna operate.
They cover all of these topics and debate. A lot of these things are theorized, but they're not known. And in fact, the person who was head of the TLC in New York City for a long time said there are other opportunities to move into other areas. It's a big unknown at this point. Although that is speculative. Keep in mind, all these possible things are coming down the road and we don't know what it's gonna be. Next. Yeah, the 20,000 Lucid EVs. But Bronx Community College and Waymo are working together on an education program for how to do repair and maintenance of these vehicles, which is good news on the education side for future workforce. Next, at least for Bronx Community College. And then the warning sign that all the people are looking at is China is very concerned because they also have a whole bunch of companies that are doing autonomous and they are driving on their streets as well. They want to find a place where they can counter the US. We've already seen that they have some of the permits for New York City, and they are operating autonomous in New York City. But in fact, they've made a move to go into Europe big time, which has no car company working on autonomous at this time that is a European company. Because they want a seat at the table to set international standards. Next. This goes on and on. So again, if you look at the last paragraph, Chinese AV systems in the heart of Europe is what they want to do. Influence global norms in data handling, which is a big part. These cars are collecting all kinds of information, such as how hard you're hitting the brakes or not hitting the brakes, hitting them slowly. What are you doing relative to the lights? It can read all these things. They're talking to other vehicles. They're talking to lights. They're collecting all kinds of data. Already it's being sold to insurance companies. A lot of private vehicles that are owned with human drivers are selling this information already to insurance companies.
And I'm also listening to you order at drive-thrus so that they can, while you're looking at your second screen, send you ads.
Yes.
I like a bit targeted ad.
So keep in mind, all this stuff is going on. Next, which is interesting.
Every
Staff
2 seconds,
chart.
making very.
Yeah, again, this is just reinforcing. You can see this Pony, We Ride, AutoX, Fleet Route, Momenta, and Baidu's Apollo. But they have a number that's China of these, so it's not just Waymo, it's not just Tesla, and it's not just. They want to control actually the international market. Next. Interesting data. And the MIT, this was sort of interesting. Next. Did you know this is a trend? You look at how US autos are changing
Yeah.
in these various dimensions.
Yeah.
What they found out, what they concluded, who does math like MIT, I guess, about 15% of parking spaces that people claim are disappearing because of the size of the vehicles, replacing the size of the vehicle they used when they calculated the standard size of a parking space. So in fact, keep that in mind when people talk about how curb space is getting so difficult to find. Part of it is this happening, as well as the accidents. Next. Another trend. You look at it, percent of, this is from Bloomberg, percent of New York City households based on 2024 census data that do not own a vehicle. And it's 78.5% of those in Manhattan. And you can see it's still pretty high in Brooklyn, and the Bronx as well. But keep in mind, when you're setting a lot of these standards for the movement of vehicles, moving the parking spaces, moving them, what a small percent of the population of residents that we're actually talking about. To cater to them, how many others are not getting anything that would benefit them? Think about it. Next,
Probably even lower in our district, right?
I don't have data right now. This is kind of interesting. I thought, I think about it for Canal Street. These are those super sidewalks where they have the painted extensions, which we're going to talk about next month. Archer gets all kinds of things done in the But yeah, he's gotten the DOE to paint things for walking people, so people know that this space is for not the bicycles that's in the green, not for the vehicles, but this is the part that's actually for pedestrians.
Yeah, it is for. It was sworn it was for cops to come back in.
Well, they might see it that way, nevertheless. Next. This large events, transportation, is a lot of talk about this. We have a big collision coming in 2026 and 2027. 2026 World Cup is coming to, call it New York, New Jersey. You can see, go to the next one. 6 months. Ready for this. They're going to be hosting World Cup 2026 final, starting on Sunday. Starting in June. It's like June 11th. The final itself is on July 19th. So it's going to be a month time these World Cup events are going to be going on. Sometimes in Meadowlands Arena in New Jersey, but they are selling it on people staying in Manhattan as well.
All the metal, it's all there.
Keep going.
Okay.
So here's where the final is, and that's where the matches are. They call it New York, New Jersey, but it is at MetLife Stadium in Rutherford, New Jersey. But the skyline, notice whose district it is.
People are gonna be very disappointed. Worst place to watch a
They
sport.
keep calling it New York, New Jersey, everything, but when you see that, they're talking about MetLife Stadium.
Well, they did a couple of games here this year. We had like
They're
a,
going to be at MetLife.
or some huge, I'm sorry, but they've like in preparation for FIFA.
But these are in MetLife. Go next, which is why there are over so many cities. Next one. Okay, so people who aren't familiar with MetLife, which I wasn't particularly, see where it is, the location. It's obvious a lot of people are going to stay in Manhattan.
I think that's there. It's like literally all together.
Wait. I have no patience. You think I don't prepare?
Very angry at how went life sucks.
Anyway, you can see. Flixbus has been announced as
Oh, no.
the intercity bus network. And so, now this could be delivering between Manhattan and New Jersey, but it is also intention, this in mind, all of the various cities around the United States and even Central America, this is an alternative to air transport between cities as well. So get familiar with the FlixBus because it's gonna be moving people between cities.
But that's not new. We've had Megabus, bulk meal. How is that different?
It's the number of people coming for a specific event in 1 month, the middle of June to the middle of July.
It's gonna be chaotic.
Wait,
We'll be fine.
So, you know,
MetLife is where is that where the Jets go?
Giants, yeah, both
Yeah,
Jets and Giants, yes.
but there's a train. I took one.
There is, but it's like a pain in the ass.
they're also the sheer volume of people.
It's a pain in the ass. Everyone's gonna drive. It's gonna be a mess.
So they can't all drive because a lot of them are coming from overseas
Mhm.
and other cities.
Whatever.
Yes. Well, they're having FlixBus.
Taking autonomous, whatever.
But if you want to see the schedule itself, where the bottom row is New York, New Jersey. You can see it is spread out, but they are over this period of time. They're going to be these various matches. The culmination, I think, is the big event. And all the other cities. So you can see there are many other cities in North America that people could be taking the FlixBus versus a plane to get to New York, given the break in time they might have. Where tickets are high. Okay, next. So we also have the World Cup and Super Bowl in LA. So which is why it's also in the news. And Archer has been named, I think they're gonna have eVTOLs in Los Angeles, which this one in New Jersey, New York is gonna be too soon. They're probably not gonna be licensed. However, as have said, remember I announced it last past month, they are considering giving some provisional licenses, eVTOL use for purposeful events in advance of them actually certifying. So, you know, I wouldn't exclude it as a possibility, the World Cup, but they have not been approved yet at the national level. LA, they're counting on it being done in time for them. And that's also put on top of major airports having disruption because of the loss of air traffic controllers. So all of this is going on at the same time, and thank you, transportation. Okay, next, to drive more people to buses. And another thing next year, coming, and we have America's 250th anniversary. And you notice his district is being highlighted for this as well, which makes sense since we were the first part of the city for the 250th birthday.
I love the pride you're taking on that. I really don't.
Won't they be doing resiliency construction by that point?
Well, and that's what we're going to see, and our whole week of pushing for a lot of construction should really be finished for this big event, so we don't look like we're all on this scaffolding. Now we'd like to keep this in mind too, coming probably at the same time as World Cup. Because that's when we have all of these boats coming in.
But the resiliency construction will just now be getting started, right?
Which one?
The, like the.
The Northwest?
Yeah.
As far as around the middle will be, as far as, it's gonna be in different locations.
Yeah, it's all over. It's not gonna be like all the battery park.
It's simultaneous. Next, and how much they're gonna factor these things, don't we know. But given all that, hey, Thanksgiving, 2026 could be quite eventful, and I can't even predict some of the things that could come before committee. Short term, something I keep thinking, I'm so glad I'm done things that the DOT is really important to me for more money and more control, because boy, look at the onslaught we're gonna get in 2026. Yeah. Think of parking all of these things as well. So, bring
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
so thank you all, and then let's start the good stuff to finish this up.
You can order the table.
We can vote.
Right.
And then I'll deal with it.
You get that.
It can't be official enough.
Thanks.
But we don't have expiration